Hi, it's Hazel. Welcome to my channel. This is day 14 of the 100-day project, and I will get right to it. This you probably recognize, or you may recognize, as being one of the pages out of the Botanist sticker anthology. And for those of you who may not have seen it, it's essentially a book full of stickers. And of course, they range in size from, a little ladybug like that to these full-page spreads. Now, you may or may not be able to see that this is actually a giant oval sticker. So none of us need advice on how to use stickers because, that's an intuitive process. Some of us have been using stickers since we were little kids. Now the stickers are just nicer and more expensive. So we all know what to do with stickers. However, I think that the full page ones offer a bit of a challenge. So what I did is figured out a way to use them. Now, I made a prototype, but let me just take this apart really quickly. Okay, this was a cover that I made, journal cover that I made using some sort of packaging. And so, it's got some rigidity to it, but it also needed some decorating. So I thought, well, there were 2 pages like this. Now, what you're probably picking up on is the fact that there is a wow under here. So I thought, well, rather than fight with, a big sticker and try to glue it down, because I wasn't going to just rely on the glue itself, why don't I just glue down the backing? Because surely the sticker will stick to its backing. Well, apparently not. So I am going to have to, so what you can see is I can pull this right off. I probably shouldn't, though, because it'll be easier to glue it in sections rather than pick it all off and hope that I can get the glue underneath it. So I will do that repair. And the next one that I do in front of you will be, obviously, a lesson learned. So, like I said, this was one of 2 pages. This one had the rounded corners, so rectangular in shape, but with rounded corners. So, it tends to be my approach, my style, to basically pick a color in the background and use that as my jumping off point for decorating. So, used a yellow edged label, used sort of this neutrally, vintage digital. This was part of a bingo card, I guess. A fabric butterfly. This label that I got in a recent thrifting haul. It seemed like, how they say in interior decor philosophy or principles that you need a touch of black in every room or every project to sort of ground things. Well, I felt that I needed something with some substance and some gravitas, some oomph, some impact. Plus, it does pick up a little bit on this music that is a little bit visible here. So that's how I chose to decorate the top. Now, because this was just packaging covered with some old music paper, I thought that my seams, my folds here needed some reinforcing. So I had this washi tape that, was going to blend in nicely. So I used that, and I did glue that down as well. And then because the back cover was just, a couple or 3 different kinds of music paper, I repeated a yellow label there, another piece of black. And it's definitely works with the black on the music, the notes and the staff and all that, and just a label. So on the inside, okay, I showed you in the book that you get 2 pages. Are they identical? Let's just quickly check that. There are several. Okay, here's another one. Not identical. That would be nice too on the right project. I picked kind of maybe ones, okay. Oh, this is the same thing. So this is what it looked like in the book. Now these are sewn in signatures, but I didn't really want to take the whole book apart. So I made rather a mess when I tore them out. I think, on the second set, I at least put a steel ruler in and cut a relatively straight line against the ruler. On the very first one, I just tripped, and you can see that that's not nice. And of course, I lost some of the design in the process. So, and this happens to be, I thought it was the center of the signature, but maybe not. Anyway, do a better job than I did, please. So on the inside again, reinforced folds, and I cut the remaining full page sticker in half and created 2 pockets and just slapped a label on each of them, just to sort of carry the back or the front cover design to the inside. Now I wonder, I suppose I could have the same problem here, although it doesn't seem to be lifting. You know what else would have been a good idea? Oh, looky there. You know what else would have been a good idea is, while the backing was still on, sew around the edge and then glue it down. So yeah, I definitely have to do some repair work there. So there's that. And of course, because there were these borders around the actual shape of the big sticker, I of course saved all those. And I had some, here are the 2 little, like, is this ridiculous or what? I saved these. These are the 2 little doohickeys that came out of the thumb hole thing. So I've got all these. I had some bases, journaling card bases. So I'm going to end up with the same damn thing here. Oh no, I think I might have taken the backing off these small pieces. So maybe that's the only thing that is working here. So basically I just stuck them down the sides of a couple of these cards, or this could be maybe a pocket, although it's fairly deep. This was an envelope that I'd made off a sheet of music paper. I just glued down some washi. This will need, all of these things will need a little additional decorating. I didn't want to do anything on the spine because, of course, the signatures haven't been sewn in, but I intend to use this. And if it looks like it's too wide, I might have to trim it a bit, but, lengthwise. But I intend to use that. So I'm basically just keeping all these things together and intact so that, I can carry on and find all the missing pieces when the time comes. So, given that I just discovered the issue before I turned this phone of mine on, that is going to obviously add some construction time to this video. So we'll put this one aside and I'll show you what else I had prepped. I did have another one of these just book covered, some sort of packaging. Is that Now tell me, is that spine big enough, do you suppose? What the heck was I thinking? 2.5 inches. It's going to have 3,000 signatures, people. Anyway, I inked around the edges, and I thought, well, okay, you guys need to see the rest of this. So the stickers that I prepped, or the ones I removed from the book, are these. So this is how it came out of the book. This one I sort of tore around the edges and inked just to give it a more organic look, I think. And I pulled out a few other things that I thought could be part of this. So let's just have a gander here. Let me get this right out of the way. Okay, so just slapping this down like this. I mean, it's fine, but it could be better. So first of all, I thought, oh, let's use some tissue paper, some pattern paper. And that kind of, that adds something. But is it enough? So then I crumpled up some brown paper. And I thought, well, this could be layered on top of that. And this could be layered on top of that. And already, I mean, not probably, in these big chunks that you see right here. But, that could probably be okay. I also have some tea-dyed strips of cotton. Just odds and ends. I also have this sort of peachy, blushy sort of lace. And I basically thought, well, that if you add, something like this under paper, it could be lumpy, bumpy. So my whole thing was, let's minimize it by cutting the pieces of lace down and having them just poking out around the edge. I didn't know if I would want to use this or not. It was just something. I think the set of 2 or 3 of these might have come from one of the dollar stores. So let's begin. I think my first layer will be the brown paper. Again, because it's the most solid, and if I use something that's solid over anything beneath it, it of course would obscure whatever's below it. So just gonna ratty this up a bit. I'm just trying to, stick to business here and get on with it because, like I said, I wasn't planning to have to do any troubleshooting on my... I thought I had a good idea going. So I think what I'll do is just glue this down as is. It's not very thick. It will serve to, add some... Oh, another one of those things I put hand lotion on, and my hands are slippery. It's not that thick, so it's going to, it won't add a great deal of bulk, but it will serve to strengthen the cover a bit. Oops. I hope that that you have begun a process of doing some of your own projects. I know some of the comments that I received on past videos indicate that, some people are going to try some of the ideas, like the stamp carving. That's easy. Oh, which reminds me, one of these days, I'm going to have to maybe just do a short little video explaining what I found out about the... in one of those videos, I was talking about using the, what is it called? You know, the lino block. And I was having difficulty. And then, I started that one day on the video. It wasn't going well. I thought I was going to lose an appendage. So then I carried on after the camera was off, and then I talked about it in the subsequent video. But I also found that I couldn't print a darn thing with it. So what I ended up doing was, I was in the city the other day. So I did go to the art store and I talked to some of the staff people there. I wasn't really taking the first person's opinion because, you know, just because somebody works in a store like that doesn't mean that they have used every single product or, you know, have the product knowledge that to help somebody who, you know, was having a dilemma. So, well, if I'm telling this story now, then maybe I don't have to do another video. But anyway, the gist of the story was that yes, lino blocks can dry out when they get old, which of course makes them even harder. Now the woman said, and I guess I have access to Google, I could have done that too. She said that she had Googled that and found out that you could heat the block. I think did she say in a microwave or with a hairdryer? I can't remember. Anyway, heat the block so that it makes it more pliable and a little easier to work with. However, the minute it cools off, it's still going to go back to being as hard as it was, which of course is not going to make the stamping any easier. So, now I have a jar of Speedball ink. That's sort of maybe the best known brand or I don't know. It's the brand I'm aware of. So I have the Speedball tool set and the and Speedball ink. I haven't tried it. I just know that I could not get an image using ordinary stamp pads like we use. So now I haven't had a chance to try it with acrylic paint. I will do that. But while I was hovering around that department, I was kind of gobsmacked to see that, yes, they had some jelly plates. Gel, is that what it's called? Jelly? Well, you know that, the brand that I'm talking about. And right beside it, they had Speedball brand gel pads as well. I could not believe my eyes. Now, I think that they were, at least, you know, here, the price was comparable to what we have to pay for the jelly brand. But I thought, well, isn't that an interesting option? You know, like I know this store has kind of a store-wide sale at least once a year. So that might be something if I want to add another plate to my collection. I just have an 8x10. It would be good to, you know, wait for a sale and maybe give the Speedball brand a try. I didn't know that there was another one, that another option existed. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. But so basically what I'm doing here is, well, you saw, I guess, that I ripped the pattern tissue paper into smaller pieces. I'm putting the torn edge out because that's going to be more interesting to my eye than if I would have had, you know, a cut edge. It pleases me when it kind of wrinkles up a bit and forms a few ridges. I should have consciously been doing that, but can't seem to walk and chew gum at the same time, so. Anyway, I hope that that you are well. I hope that you're crafting. I hope that if you're in the northern hemisphere, that spring is around the corner for you. Like, we still have a lot of snow in our yard. In the city, the streets are dry and the sidewalks are dry for the most part. The roads are the highways are perfect. Country roads, of course, are going to take longer because it's just a gravel base. So as that snow melts, it will be, we're gonna have a little bit of mud going on. Mud, or at least not maybe so much mud because it is gravel, but soft spots to contend with. But I don't know about you, but I already feel hopeful and think somebody should be giving prizes. We all made it through another winter. Yeah. Okay, so we've got that down. Now, that already looks more interesting than it would have without it, but I do have the bits of this lace as well. And again, I would be putting the ratty torn edge along the where it would be visible. So that is it for my small pieces, but if I need to add to add a bit more, I can, because I do have that other. And of course, it doesn't, what can we see here? It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to totally frame it. And in fact, it'd probably look better if it does, and if it was, again, a little off center, although this is too straight an edge here. We can just hack away at that. I might be better off. Maybe I should cut this in half, and then I can have a little more flexibility when I'm positioning it. And if it extends a little past the edge, better yet. Okay, now this seems too regular. This is, I of course am taping ahead because that's just the thing that makes the most sense. And it's Wednesday as I'm doing this. So tomorrow our daughter is bringing out her French bulldog, Gertie, to stay at the farm while she and her boyfriend go to the States I think they're going to Los Angeles for, well, almost a week. So that becomes a whole new thing around here. And she's a very good dog. She'd be, I think she's just turned 2, I think, in October. So she's really good. She's very lovable. But she is a commitment. She just the ensuring that she is fed and watered, and gets out there for for bathroom breaks is luckily my husband likes to do that sort of stuff. Mind you, he also uses it as a reason to sit in the recliner with her lying across him. I think they both snooze, to be honest, but hey. She is a bit of a, I don't want to say a menace, but I think the craft room is a bit of a hazard for her. Simply because, no matter how you do it, there's stuff. There's stuff on the floor. There's bits of paper. There's one time I caught her licking, like I had taken the cover off a book, and so the book block was just sitting there on one of those little carts, and she seemed to just love licking the gluey spine. Well, that's not acceptable, Gertie. So it might be nice to have a little bit of the cotton showing as well. Okay, what I think I'll do, I should have laid this down. I will glue down these things sort of where I have them positioned. Then I will, take another look at it and probably add a bit more of the of this stuff. This stuff. Yeah, and the other, you may have heard me say in other videos that last September we had a stray dog show up here at the farm. Someone had obviously dropped him off. I don't think he was a runaway. And for the first 2 or 3 days, we didn't feed him, thinking, well, he's going to go back where he came from. He just stopped in for a visit. And my husband phoned around to the neighbors, and nobody was missing a dog like that. So anyway, then, of course, winter was starting to approach, so we bought him an insulated dog house with, vinyl siding and asphalt shingles and an insulated walls, and then the $50 dog bed from Costco and the gigantic bag of dog food. So yeah, we've invested a bit. But he's really a good dog. So the thing is, he's older than Gertie. They seem to not be particularly interested in each other. So I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse. I think Rocky, that's what we named him, because of course he couldn't tell us what his real name was. I think Rocky maybe gets jealous because Gertie, of course, is an inside dog. Rocky is an outside dog. So, but it's, yeah. There isn't a lot of interaction that goes on with them. Oh, today I was in Edmonton because I had to pick up some things. And I went to a store and they had, like, you probably, if you have pets or dogs, you probably have seen those, either, what the heck were they called? Not pork hocks, but those small, those kind of ankle bones or foot bones from pigs that they've, I don't know, roasted or whatever as dog treats. And so, of course, last year I bought a 3-pack of the small ones for Gertie as an outside treat because they are very greasy. And so today I saw what they call it, a dino bone. I guess it was from a cow. It had to be 20 inches long and probably 3 or 4 inches in diameter at the narrow part. So, yeah, Rocky will have his work cut out for him. I think that treat will wait until the ground dries up and a lot of the snow is gone, and he can, do that on the lawn or something, or on the patio. Because Gertie is a city dog and purebred, and more like a child than this farm stray. If she, has some treats that she doesn't like or don't agree with her, whatever, Rocky gets her cast-offs. And so I've got those in a plastic container in the garage. So I'm going to get the car and go somewhere. We found out that he does know a few commands. So he knows sit. So I thought, well, okay, somebody obviously cared about this guy at some point and taught him a few things. So he's probably 40 pounds or so. He seems to be a border collie mixed with something. So he's a big dog. Gertie's a little squirt. Anyway, so I say to him, okay, Rocky, sit. I'm holding a treat in my hand. And he just looks at me. And I more forcefully say, sit. And I'm holding that treat. And he was feeling, I guess, what do they say about some kids? Oppositional defiant? He didn't feel like sitting. So I thought, okay, well, we know who's in charge here. I put the treat back in the container. I closed the door and I drove away. So I haven't tried again since, but I'm thinking, hey, this is not optional. If I'm asking you to do something, you better do it. So we'll see if he's reluctant next time. Oh, Rocky also got a Christmas present from Gertie. I didn't know that there was such a thing, and goodness knows Rocky, the little country bumpkin, did not reciprocate by his country cousin a gift. Anyway, what Rocky got from Gertie was the Costco Christmas Advent calendar for dogs. So, of course, 24 or 5, however many days of treats. And that was a big, because, of course, some of them were, I guess, very delicious. So that was kind of nice. Okay. I should keep that lying down. Let us see what we have so far. I'm going to hold it up so I can see it. Okay, that brown paper has pretty well disappeared. Makes me feel like I need to add some back in. And maybe some down here. Mind you, then the risk covering up everything of the pattern. Okay, I'm definitely putting a piece up there. And that Rocky, he's big, and goodness knows he howls at creatures at night, and he's had 2 encounters with porcupines since he's been here. But when there are strangers in the yard, well, he can't get enough of the petting. So I'm thinking, boy, quite the guard dog you are, mister. Yesterday, now we do have a doorbell, but sometimes it doesn't want to ring. I don't know what the problem is. Anyway, this kind of insistent, loud knocking. So I go to the door, and that's kind of, sometimes that can be a bit scary, even in the middle of nowhere, or maybe especially in the middle of nowhere. But anyway, I opened the door, and so it was these guys in camo, obviously hunters. And I'm thinking, what the hell? What the hell are they doing here? There's nothing in season. Well, anyway, he was asking, the older guy was asking for permission to hunt coyotes. I have to, wrap my head around that. I said, well, but there's no season. There are no licenses. Like, what's with what? Couldn't understand. And he said, no, there's no season. There are no licenses. I guess it tests the skill set of the hunter, because coyotes apparently have very good eyesight, very good hearing, and a very good sense of smell. So, of course, strategically, you have to be upwind of them. Is that right? Did I say that right? Upwind? You have to be where they can't smell you. Of course, you can't let them hear you either. And he says, and then they call to them. And I'm thinking, I know coyotes howl, but what else? So he pulls out of his pocket this call, and it's basically, I guess, the call that rabbits make. And that's how they trick them into. So anyway, I said, well, okay, there's no shooting allowed on the home quarter. We don't want to hole in the fuel tank or the kitchen window or whatever. And I said, and no littering. Whether it's careless smoking or, food junk, wrappers and containers or beer cans, or at one time we used to have, we've even had girly magazines, sort of left, on the road, but still you feel, I don't know how people feel when they live in a city, but in the country you sort of feel it's like, well, it's our road, even though it isn't. It's a public road, obviously. But you think, what are you doing on our road? Why are you skulking around? Why are you throwing anything out your window? Sort of get a little bit annoyed. Oh, I put this so far in that it's like it isn't even there. Let's move it. Move it. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, I don't even know how much time has passed, but I better get on with this. What, for better or worse? Oh, I said I might use some fabric. I could also put something over the top. Maybe something narrower. Maybe just for the sake of moving along, I should glue this down. Okay, so we know that the story here. Maybe I'll use art glitter glue. So I'm going to peel this backing off, because we learned from the past mistake. And maybe I'll do it in sections. There really isn't an up or down on this. Maybe I'll consider that the top. Anyway, so I gave them permission. I just said that, I said, why? So what is the point of this? He said, well, it's, again, a test of their skill. I said, well, is anybody buying fur? Because, back in the day, many of us, including me, had fur coats, and then society changed. And he said, no, there really isn't any market for furs. They pay very poorly. A coyote pelt apparently is about $30. And he says if he pays, and I won't say who, but let's just say there are people that will skin it for you. That apparently costs $25 an animal. So essentially, $5. Don't spend all that in one place. So it's not worth it. He said there, so I said, okay, what about fur coats? Because, I know of at least, well, I have one, an aunt has a couple, my mom had a couple, so we're kind of thinking, well, is there any way to get rid of these things other than just outright donate them? We considered getting something made, a decor type piece, cushions, a throw, whatever, from our mom's coats. But again, that has to kind of make some sense too, financially. Anyway, he said there is nobody making coats. This looks like it's going to be a bugger to make it stay down. He said there's nobody making coats, nobody selling coats. He said that about the only thing that they do now with pelts is they cut them into strips and just use very narrow strips to make trim for cuffs or hoods. But other than that, obviously one pelt would go a long way if all you're doing is trimming some sleeves or putting it around a hood. So he did say there seemed to be a little bit of a change in people's beliefs. He also said that in China, and he specifically referenced the Olympics, whichever, I guess must have been Winter Olympics, there were a lot of people wearing furs in the crowd, but I don't know that anybody wants to take China's lead on really too much of anything, to be honest. So anyway, I don't know why I told you all that, but I thought it was really interesting. And of course, there's still people who will wear their fur coats, and, critics be damned. I know that there are people that sometimes sell or donate coats or whatever, and then crafters use them like for maybe making, plush bears or whatever out of them. So, I don't know. What we were told when we looked into having a throw or cushions made or something like that is that fur is not easy to sew, and you need a special machine, and you kind of have to know what you're doing. So that's why it's a bit of a specialty thing. The average home sewer probably is not going to know how or be able to have the equipment to do that. So I don't know. It's probably one of those things that you let it just fall off your to-do list. Okay, I think for now that might be all I will do with this. It does, I imagine, yeah, you can see that it's a little bit rough. Not rough, but uneven, because of course it went over all those other things beneath it. But this, of course, would not be finished. There would be something more added to it in terms of, labels, or like I did with the other cover. And I did talk about this as well. But again, until I figure out what I'm doing with these strips. Oh, I'd also pulled out some, Okay, I didn't do anything with this other page so far because I thought, well, surely I have a little more imagination than to just do the same thing as I did on the other one. I mean, that possibility still exists. A person could cut it in half as I did the other and make 2 pockets. I'm not, I'm not limiting myself to that. I did have this that I thought could be a belly band. So what I did was use some of these strips, again, from around the page. Can't pick them up. So there are several of these. The other thing I did was I thought, I have a 5/8 punch. So I punched out a bunch of circles thinking, oops, that these could be used in some way. And again, because I don't have any pages selected for this, I don't have anything other than the cover, I am not going to rush into doing anything. Oh, I also used my oval punch to get that sort of a shape. I also bent a couple of them back that could be used as tabs. I have more circles here. So I'm going to have to, keep all this stuff intact and together until I decide what I'm doing. Again, there's no hurry until I know. The other thing that I had pulled out of the, see, even this could be used in some way, perhaps. And just to, I suppose I could attach, mind you, I have to wait for the glue, so maybe I won't bother. My plan was to attach this, this belly band, on the back cover so that it could, something could be tucked in there. Oh, for heaven's sakes. I also pulled out some stamps, postage stamps that would work color-wise. This butterfly sticker, a piece of vellum, printed vellum, some flower fairy stickers, so I don't know if I should carry on. How are we doing for time? These videos are never very short, are they? It becomes kind of just basically doing some layering. Because this is kind of the one place on a in a journal where you can go a little bit. That's cute. Can you see? It's the one place in a journal where you can go a little bit, add some dimension, and it's not going to hurt anything because it's not affecting the opening and closing of the book. I like this on this piece of fabric. And of course, mind you, that's slick. I'm not going to throw that away just yet in case there's some way to use it. That's the backing of the sticker. Okay. It almost seems like she was meant to be on there. And what is that little girl pointing to? Is it this? Is it this? Oh, I think I intended these stamps for the belly band, to be honest. I suppose, but I don't have any here. Don't think. Cheesecloth would have been good too. What is this? Yeah, that could work. Maybe it won't be very creased. Here's another piece. Just as bad though. That is a possibility. Although it feels like maybe it needs the solidity of the of this cotton. Yeah, I find it, and maybe, well, I don't know. I guess you'd have to tell me in the comments. I find it a little, not hard, but I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't know how I feel about doing this thought process, this selection process on camera. Like if it is useful to somebody, then hey, I'm all for it. I don't mind talking out loud and sort of exposing my thought process or sharing my thought process. But if it is annoying or delaying or what are some of the other words, then I would definitely stop doing it, because that's not what this is about. It's not supposed to annoy people. It's supposed to either instruct or inform or amuse or whatever, but it's not supposed to annoy. I feel like I should start building it maybe vertically, like so. And then if I end up needing to rip the top off, then I will. But this seems to be, I kind of like it because it's a bit different. So I'm going to start doing that. And let's pray that some of this stuff holds. probably see if I was prepared for it. It might another option here, or I could do that before I glue it down, is just tack it with even a glue gun, not a glue gun, a glue stick, and then add some tops, like some hand stitching to secure it. It'll go nowhere, but you know, the dimension, the layers would be more obvious. I could do that before I glue it down. I would have to do that before I glue it down. Okay, this, let me just change my plan. Instead of a glue stick, I will do kind of a little bead of glue here, just essentially to hold it. I either need to clean the tip of this or top up the amount, because this is kind of drives me a little bit batty. Okay, I'm going to do that and let these creases and folds and everything work in my favor. Put a little smidge there. Boy, talk about a little smidge is right. Now, I haven't used these before, so is it really a sticker or what is it? Yes, it says this is the box. This came from Temu. Apparently that's the way you say it. Can't read any of that, except it does say box sticker. So if you didn't see that video, you might want to seek it out, because I did place an order, and part of what I said, where's my little pokey thing? Part of what I said that day was that sometimes the cynic and the skeptic in me prevents me from jumping on a bandwagon. But I was seeing all these unboxing videos, and the stuff didn't look too bad, and the prices seemed unbelievable. Doesn't sticker usually mean that it sticks? I don't see any indication here that there is a layer that needs to be pried apart. I think what I should do, though, is get rid of some of this wide. I don't need all that excess there. Anyway, so what I did was I watched a number of other people's videos to see what they were getting, how it appeared to be quality-wise, and so on. I made a note of the things I liked or wanted to look into further, and I placed an order. And then I thought, well, okay, yes, I can make a video out of this, but what good is it? How useful is it to have you look at stuff in a bag? So that's why I spent a good, I don't know, I didn't time myself, but I'm sure a couple of hours using the dies, using the stamps, and that is part of the video, because, you know, we've all been burnt, you know, where something seems like a heck of a deal, and we buy it and we realize, oh yeah, so what mother said is right. You get what you pay for. You know, it either doesn't hold up or it doesn't perform the way you expect it to. So why not let me do that and help you out if you're considering some of those same items? So based on some of the comments that I got, it seemed like people appreciated that, which is good. That's why I did it. And I would have welcomed seeing that prior to me ordering. And I did I kept kind of a running wish list of things that I would look into if I place a second order. And I have to say, and maybe this is, spoiler alert, other than the stencils, I ordered 3 stencils and 2 of them came damn near pleated. They were so creased. But I was able to, it didn't affect their functionality in terms of what I was using them for. So anyway, I have to say, I was kind of pleasantly surprised. Maybe I'll try Fabri-Tac on this. But yeah, I think it's worth your while to watch the video if you are considering an order. I know in one of the videos that I watched, somebody was complaining about, well, the packaging is not as good as Amazon does. You don't get a... And I'm thinking, well, okay, but isn't that, in a sense, isn't that a good thing? Isn't that sort of the name of the game? Isn't that what most manufacturers are trying to do, is reduce the amount of packaging that they're using, creating, paying for, and then, that we have to deal with? And of course, any crafter is going to find a way to reuse most of that. But out of the gazillions of things that are being shipped, not everyone's a crafter. A lot of that is going straight into, garbage. Oh, that's so cute. Okay, so let's pretend this is underneath. Maybe that could be overlapping that a bit. Or the other thing I could do instead of using this, and that might be better, but of course, I don't have that here, is stamping. Because this little guy is going to, as we know, going to curl up. I also fussy cut around all of the, oh, this is not the original packaging. I fussy cut around all of these stickers because I didn't like and this came out of there. I should probably go around this with just with whatever ink is on the little brush, just to knock back the white a bit. I think I will use art glitter glue for that little piece of vellum. Boy, that didn't seem like it did that very... Oh, maybe I didn't finish going around. I only did half a butterfly. That's a bit better. Okay, let's see. So I could, but then I'm committed. That commits me, people. Unless, for now, all I do is attach the little vellum thing to the back of the fabric, I don't know how much. Maybe we'll see better if I do it on. I should try to keep things straight. You know, it's pretty hard to have things square and plumb and level when you're looking at things at an angle. And then it irks me, something fierce, when I can't keep doing this because then you can't see anything. And then I glue it down. I'm thinking, oh. So I could do that. And if I position that butterfly that way, it breaks this straight line here, which is a good thing. It helps secure that vellum, which is a good thing. It creates another interesting intersection there. That is wonderful. Oh, peel the backing off. I want to kind of get this cover at least done. And then I will let you go. Oh, I shouldn't have put, I don't want that to stick to the cover till I know. I shouldn't have gone to the tips of those wings. Did you notice that while I was doing it? We'll just leave it like that for the time being. And of course, once I decide where I'm doing, or where I'm finally laying it down, this little bow, I made this out of a couple of pieces of, I think this probably came out of a signature. Or either that or it was a binding spool, thread, whatever that I had. Well, that's cute. I could glue that there. I don't know if I mentioned it in a previous video, but I'm doing some rearranging here in the studio. So I haven't, I need to rig up some sort of a system where I could have a glue gun kind of accessible and ready to plug in. I think I'm going to, like I work on an old oak desk. Probably it was a teacher's desk or an office desk somewhere. Anyway, I want, and maybe I'll have to ask hubby to do that, drill a pilot hole and then add a cup hook of some sort or a hook of some sort. Oh, you know what? I have command hooks. Then no hole is required. I want to put something in under my desk in the knee hole where I could hang the heat gun. So it would be handy. It would not be, on the floor. It would not be taking up space on a flat surface, and yet it would be accessible. Well, I kind of like that, you guys. But I could add that, I guess, if I wanted to later. It also makes me think that I could have done maybe a little closer shave with the, I don't know why, if that, whatever these things are made of, it kind of seems to have resisted that ink. So I can at least trim the parts that are accessible. Or I could actually wet my brush, I mean, ink up my brush before I use it. Or I suppose I could try like a Sharpie or something. Something that may be a little more, or I could try Stays On or something like that that maybe has a little more staying power than. Okay, people, don't do this at home. It's not wise. And maybe it doesn't bug you. And you're wondering, is she nuts? Well, the jury is still out on that. Okay, I like this so far. And of course, once I'm ready to glue it down, which will not be today, I'm going to do better with that, even if I have to rip this off. Shouldn't have settled for. Ay, ay, ay. Whoops, that would like to tear. Pick that. Is that a thorax? Is that part of the body called a thorax? Isn't it amazing how some of those words that were so important in school, a person, hasn't had another occasion for 30, 40, 50 years to ever use the word again. Anyway, if I choose to, when it finally is time to glue this thing down to the cover, I could choose to add something more, a label, some postage stamps, kind of whatever else. But I think I'm pretty happy with the start that I've gotten here. And I am willing to bet my bottom dollar that top of that fabric strip will be shortened and roughed up a bit so there's some fraying and some interest instead of just a straight cut on there. Like I said before, I'll be keeping the other pieces together, in a paper clip, in a pocket, whatever, in an envelope, so that when I get back to this journal at some point, all the parts are there for adding other elements inside that will unify the whole project. I shouldn't be doing this with you here. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to ask you to consider subscribing to the channel. It warms the cockles of my heart to see the numbers going up. There are a few most days, so that's really good. Of course, I very much appreciate that because I consider my time is precious, and I know that your time is precious as well. So the fact that you're choosing to spend some of it with me is very humbling, and it's not taken for granted. And I understand that there are we all have a lot of demands on our time. That is better. So the fact that you are choosing to subscribe, to watch, to like, to comment, just is so, it's really touching. And again, I appreciate it very much. So if you have been on the fence and thinking about it and wondering, well, should I or shouldn't I? Dare I say, I think you should. Knowing that, oh brother, now I've got all these little, I've got all these little slivers that I've cut off now sticking to this backing here. I think one day I'm going to start a series, What Not to Do. Okay, I said I was letting you go. Now, if you asked my husband about goodbyes, he would say that with my family, like with talking about me, my family, that with my families, the goodbyes start in the living room, then they go to the kitchen, then they go to the door, then they go outside, then they're at the car window, and by then people are actually finally leaving. So maybe I come by this honestly, I don't know. Anyway, okay, that looks better. Although that, I shouldn't express my frustration so vocally. Okay, I'll glue this thing down again, and I will, or was that Fabri-Tac? Now I've got more of these little slivers here. Anyway, what I was actually starting to say was, I'm going to put you out of your misery and make you stop, make you watch any more of this. I will be back again tomorrow with another 100-day installment. I just, at this point, I have no idea what it'll be, but hey, again, I glued them. Oh my goodness. Again, I glued to the edge of those wings. Sometimes all you can do is sigh. You know, if you don't want to cry, then you just have to laugh. Okay, I'm really shutting the camera off now. Enough is enough. Thanks, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.